Hello everyone, welcome back to another Friday and another casual champion review. I am so tired. I don't want to play this character anymore. I'll get into it later. They haven't, what is this? These stupid arrows. I can't get rid of them. They're supposed to be for new players, I thought. Why am I getting them? They're like, oh, just get to level 11 and they'll be gone forever. I'm level like 700 million or something. Get them out of here. Anyway, I'm not going to be having a lot of fun today. Doesn't appear my Sconner's having fun either. I wish I was playing Sconner instead. You know what else I wish for? Fan art section. That's actually kind of true. I think without fan art section, I might have actually stopped casual review long ago. I'll get into it in this video, but trying to record a single game of Malzahar for this week was actual torture. But, you know, fan art section always brings a massive smile to my face. Look at all the little goobers. Oh, it's so wonderful. I love it so much. Thank you, fellas. Genuinely. All right. I'm off on a little mini vacation for this weekend. There'll still be a video going up this Sunday. But, yeah, take care, fellas. Enjoy the video, hopefully. Anyway, now that my lane is ruined, let's talk about Malzahar. So, Malzahar was born into Shurima in a very poor family who died when he was still a very young lad. But after their death, or shortly after their death, he realized his true power. He had a very special ability that he could predict the future. Vayne, I want to predict your future that you go 0 and 10. Who plays Vayne mid? Who does that? So Malzahar grew up on the streets, barely getting by exchanging fortunes for food and money. But eventually his predictions grew increasingly accurate. I mean, you would hope, where people just like, hey, I want you to predict something that I know is not going to be correct. Oh, that's the entire thing of fortune tellers. Oh. But as his predictions grew more and more accurate, his reputation grew, and so he found himself surrounded by wealthy patrons who enjoyed his predictions. So he went from a street kid to a wealthy society surrounded by fame and fortune. He realized, man, I'm not happy here either. It was one thing that he couldn't even predict his own future, but no matter what happened, no matter whose future he predicted, they always ended up miserable. He found that human nature was just to resort to violence. They were always wanting more, no matter how much they got or how much power they had, and he realized they weren't happy and neither was he, so he decided to leave his newfound life and wander the desert. And for years he did so, plagued by visions of death and suffering and war, that there was something even worse on the way, that people were corrupt, but the entire world was also corrupt. What? Maybe I am. Amumu, I predict your future, that you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail Q. You're gonna fail your Q, Amumu. You're gonna fail. You know, I didn't say it was gonna happen right now. Malzahar eventually stumbled his way into the lost city of Acathia, ruined by the war and the void. And so he gazed into the abyss, for a voice called to him. And desperate for an answer to his visions, he let them in. And the void twisted and corrupted his mind, warped him into a herald of oblivion. Convinced himself the corruption of the world was by human nature. This was why he couldn't see his future. This was his higher purpose, to cleanse the world of its corruption by making it become one with the void's eternal nothingness. Whether, of course, the people of Runeterra were willing or not. That's not what his lore always was, and it was left kind of ambiguous as to what that voice calling him was. People just assumed, oh, it was the Void itself, maybe the Watchers or whoever. But now we know it was bel'veth specifically. So he was already stupid for letting the Void just, don't worry, horrific nightmare dimension. Yes, tell me what to do. But now he's even more stupid because he thinks he's heralding the Void. So now he's not just a herald of the Void. He's like a fake herald of the Void. He's heralding the wrong version of it. He's just basically a slave to bel'veth. He never used to be like that, though. I mean, back in the day, him and Kassadin had a more nemesis kind of relationship. It was him who directly took Kassadin's daughter into the Void, sacrificed her to open a Void Rift or something. You know, Kai'Sa got introduced because we didn't know that was her name back then or know much anything else about Kai'Sa in general. And so now that they've kind of gone their own separate ways, they're not really connected, although it's assumed that the cult or his cult of followers that Malzahar has now, they're the ones who are responsible for sinking the city that Kassadin's daughter was in, and his whole tribe as well. So now instead of being rivals, they're treated more as parallels, where it's, oh, this is what Kassadin could become one day, corrupted like Malzahar. You could call it clever, but it is strange that Kassadin looks more evil than Malzahar does. And that's kind of my big gripe with Malzahar, is he's supposed to be the herald of the void, the human who is trying to bring it into the physical world, and yet he doesn't really look very voidy. I mean, at least he looks a little bit more now. That's in large part because of the particle effect update he got a good while ago, but also because of the mage update back in 2016. I will predict that you will miss your Q. That's cheating! Back when they did the Mage update in 2016, they changed a bit of his gameplay. The little spiraling circle that appears underneath his ult, that used to be his W, and by using multiple abilities, that's how you would proc the Voidlings. There was like this whole tactic of trying to maximize setting up the Voidlings, whereas now you kind of just... Look at that. Yep. Wow. I cannot believe that hit. Part of that update wasn't just the particle effects, it was also changing his model ever so slightly. He's got that little void spiral in the top of his head, which you can't see super well in game. It's a lot more obvious in the splash art, and it's a cool piece of visual symbolism. A literal warped mind, a third eye that is part of the void that he can't escape. Because before it was just a bunch of runic patterns on his cloak, and I mean even back then his cloak was a much lighter shade of pink, but now he looks a lot more voidish. Again, I don't think he looks voidish enough. For a character who's supposed to be corrupted by the void, becoming its herald for the physical world, I think they could have gone a lot further, especially if they want to go that angle where he is Kassadin's parallel. Although I would also like Kassadin to be corrupted as well. I would really like the idea if Malzahar took on more characteristics of what we've seen humans corrupt like when they get tainted by the void. He's got the spiraling third eye, which is good, but again is difficult to see in game. I would have liked if he had actual skin breaking, like keratin armor forming all over his body. His limbs are twisted and malformed. Something about him that he just didn't look quite right. He looked like a human monster. Oh good, if it isn't my favorite person in the whole wide world, Amumu. I predict that you'll die and not get a single kill. I am a prophet. I think they actually could have made his skin much darker as well. Right now it's kind of a grayish. I think if they made it more purple, it not only would have looked more void-like, but it also would have helped Kassadin's blue skin feel a bit more appropriate. Like, oh, this is what Kassadin looks like when he's only partially corrupted, but Malzahar is fully corrupted. Also the eye thing, I get what they're going with. It looks nice. It's a nice bit of symbolism. Again, he has vision, so it makes sense he'd have a hypothetical third eye, and it looks rather similar to his voidlings as well, which I think that was the main intention. So I get what they're going with. They're trying to go a whole Jin aesthetic. I think that's how you say it. Not Jin, you know, Jin as in, you know, old fortune tellers. He's got the large poofy fabrics. He's got the big poofy pants. He's got gauntlets. I don't think that's a part of Jin attire. I think my main criticism isn't just that he doesn't look voidy enough. He doesn't look scary. I feel like this guy should be terrifying. He's the herald of the void. He's trying to bring about oblivion, the destruction of the world. He should be scary, and he just looks goofy. And let us not forget the knife that he has. There it is. This stupid knife. Why does he have this? He's got psychic powers, basically. What would he need a knife for? I guess sacrifices? But then just like levitate them, open a void portal, summon voidlings. Like, they'll cut them open real good. What do you need a knife for? And it's silly because they have to... I might be dead. Unless I silence him. And it's dumb because he has emotes for it. It means they have to include the knife in every single one of his skins, whether it makes sense or not. It's not practical. It's stupid. And I hate it. Oh, void. You're supposed to be on my side. And how come Malzahar doesn't get some kind of cool buff with Rift Herald? Is he in a competition? Maybe they like compete for who's the best Herald or something. I predict that you'll die slowly and painfully in every way I know you fear. I'm so bored. Oh, I pressed my button. Oh dear. I'm gonna walk away. Yeah, okay. I feel like I've just been speeding through all of this because I just... Yep, have fun. You too, Urgot. Have fun. I feel like I've been able to speed through the commentary on this one. Usually I get distracted or I have to focus on a champion's mechanics, but here I just don't care. Like, I feel nothing. I mean, granted, yesterday, that's what I was trying to get at the beginning. I tried to play a game of Malzahar for 4 hours. In 4 games, Malzahar got banned. 2 times were by my own teammates. And because I didn't want to dodge, I don't want to get a penalty, I ended up playing 3 of those games out until I got to the 4th one. I'm like, ah, screw it. I can't be bothered. I'm just going to dodge. Even though I never dodge, I still had a 10-minute wait timer. So I have to wait 10 minutes, and I finally get a game with Malzahar, and my AD carry doesn't connect. And so I'm just stuck there in a, you know, 4v5. Wow. Interactive and fun. I'm having fun. Didn't you have fun, Vayne? And so after all that, technically 5 games if you want to count the champion select dodge. My queue times, by the way, are like 5 minutes each. So I've had 5 5-minute queue times. I've spent almost half an hour. Technically with load times, I have spent over half an hour just waiting for games to start. So I've spent over 3 hours just trying to record this casual review, and I finally get in a game, and my reward is playing Malzahar. Playing Malzahar isn't a reward. This is punishment. I feel like I don't understand. I mean, okay, I can understand why people like the super flashy champions that I don't like. I can see how people can find fun in Katarina or Yone or Kaisa or whoever. I get where the fun can come from for there. And I'm a simple guy. I like the simple champions. I mean, we even played some recently on this channel. I played Malphite. He's simple as hell, but he's still fun. And I like a lot of simple champions. You know, they have a lot of negative qualities about them, but cho'gath, very simple champion, but his fantasy of becoming Godzilla, very engaging for me. Lux, very simple mage with very clean and cut skill shots, still very satisfying. Even someone as boring as Garen at least can be cheesy fun and has cheese crit builds and stuff. You know what, Amumu? Nah. With Malzahar, I cannot fathom it. Sir Hyde and Mortdog, this is like both of their favorite champions. I don't understand. I cannot fathom in any world where this is anyone's favorite champion, and yet he is. Because those other champions like Malphite, cho'gath, Lux, Garen, they're simple, but they still have something interesting. There's some kind of proactiveness to playing them. But with Malzahar, every single ability he has is point and click, so you can never miss anything. All your damage happens slowly over time, so there's no room for funny bursts. And because of that, you're forced to build only the burn items because this champion doesn't function without them. And then he just auto farms for you, presses the EW, and then there you go. Just watch them do their thing and do nothing, especially now they added an execute to it. And of course, auto spell shield. Don't worry about positioning, you just get it for free. This all sounds like I'm trying to say that Malzahar is broken, which he isn't really. It's just that, like, what am I doing? I did nothing. I felt nothing. Amumu, I predict that you have no idea where I am and you don't have eyes. Which is crazy because there's plenty of other champions that I actively dislike more than him. Like, aforementioned Yone and Katarina, I actively dislike them. Malzahar makes me feel absolutely nothing. I feel like an empty husk piloting a corpse. And like I said, I've been able to say a lot more in the time that I have. I hope this game doesn't go on for 40 minutes because I'm not sure what much else to say about him. I see carry. Press R button, stand there and watch them die. But it's not goofy looking like Blitzcrank or Malphite. It doesn't have satisfying burst like Lux does. Ah! And the fantasy isn't even that fun, like cho'gath growing big, which is why this is gonna sound so contradictory. The most insane part about Malzahar isn't even that it's boring, is that it's actually a perfect thematic fantasy. He brings the void to our world, forces you to experience the nightmare visions he sees, and slowly corrupts you till you die. I don't know what I changed for Malzahar's kit. I think it's actually perfect for the thematic fantasy. I just know I never want to play him again, and the skins suck except Bizahar. All right, everyone. Thank you. I have to play Maokai next week. God damn it. Thank you for watching this casual champion review. I'm leaving. Goodbye.